Hello, this is Evelyn Hudson, and I am the reference librarian for HCTC Libraries. Today I'll be talking about library services available to our students. HCTC Libraries have two main locations, the Lees Library at the Jackson campus and the Stevens Library at the Hazard campus. Our hours are currently Mondays through Thursdays, 8 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. Please note that we'll be closed from 12 to 1 for lunch, and we'll have one staff person available at each location. We're also closed on Fridays to the public, weekends, and national holidays. Please check signs at the door for changes in our hours or special closings. We also offer extended library services at Knott, Leslie, and the technical campuses. Please contact either myself or Kathy Branson, the Director of Library Services, for more information about that. Student IDs are used as library cards. Students can check out up to 10 books at a time. Students without an ID may apply for a library card. The replacement fee for lost cards is $3. We also offer public computers and Wi-Fi for student use. HCTC provides students with 500 free pages of printing each semester. Just be aware that the library printer only prints in black and white. Our printer also provides copying services. As with the entire campus, we do have some COVID guidelines in place. Masks are required in all buildings on campus, including the library. The mask must be worn over your nose and mouth and must be kept on while you're inside at all times. We will have plexiglass in place at points of service. So at our circulation desk, we've got a big plexiglass separating that. We have hand sanitizing stations. We will also be cleaning and sanitizing computer stations in between each use. You might notice a little table tent in front of a computer saying that that computer is unavailable. It takes about 10 minutes to sanitize a computer fully. We'll be sanitizing the tables as well in between uses and the printer and the copier. We are enforcing the social distancing. 6 feet must be maintained. On every other computer, you'll see a sign saying that that computer is unavailable. This is to maintain that social distancing. It also means we have fewer computer stations available. So if you're needing to come in to print or to use a computer to complete an assignment, just be aware there might be some potential wait times. Give yourself enough time to complete your assignment and potentially account for that wait as well. We recommend to make appointments for virtual reference if you need help with a research assignment, with citations, with finding sources. We can set up an appointment to do that via Microsoft Teams or Blackboard Collaborate or over the phone, whatever your preferences. Physical library materials, things like books, DVDs, audiobooks, once they're returned, we will be holding them for a minimum of 4 days before we recirculate those. So if somebody has something checked out and you would like to borrow that, just know that there is a 4-day wait period in between those. You can find us online. If you go to the HCTC website, the easiest path to find us is My Path. And we're just going to be that little library tile. This is what our homepage looks like. You'll notice we've got the menu on the left side of the page. We've got that Primo search bar in the middle of the page, and that is for our online library catalog. The online library catalog, it's going to search all of our physical items, so our books, our DVDs, our audiobooks, as well as our database collections, so our digital content like ebooks and journal articles and newspaper articles. That's also going to show up in that search as well. So if you search, enter in a keyword in that search box. This is the search results page. Again, you can see there's a book, there is an article, there's a reference entry. Under Tweak My Results, you can go in and you can kind of narrow that down a bit, refine your search so it's more specific to what you need. There's also an advanced search option, and that gives you a few more boxes that you can go in and you can add keywords or add an author's name if you know that, and narrow your search down a little bit more that way. So if you're just kind of browsing, in a good year of your browsing, right now our stacks are closed to the public. If you need a book, we're more than happy to go back and help you find that and bring that out for you. But currently we're not allowing anybody back into the stacks area where the books are. But in a good year, our nursing materials are on the shelves under RT. R is the general subject for medicine, and RT is that subcategory for nursing. On all of our shelves, you'll notice we've got posters. It explains the organizational scheme. We use the Library of Congress classification, so you can just kind of generally browse using those posters and those subjects. Please also note that we do not buy current textbooks for classes. Some instructors may choose to place a copy of a textbook on our course reserves shelf, which we keep behind the circulation desk. They would probably indicate that they have that available to you prior, or you can ask your instructor if that's something that they could potentially do. We also offer interlibrary loan as a service to students, faculty, and staff. And essentially what interlibrary loan does is it allows us to borrow items from other libraries. This is within the state. There's a few out-of-state participating libraries as well. So if you go to our library homepage under Services for Students, it's going to be a form under Interlibrary Loan. Just some guidelines for using that. Make sure you're really checking our catalog and databases before you submit a request. Make sure we really do not have the item. Please ask us for help if you need that, or if you have any doubt about that, we can help you look and then submit that request as well. Books, journals, magazine articles, and audio visuals that we do not have at our libraries can be ordered. Students can request up to 5 items a week. Just be mindful of costs and staff time. And then, of course, with COVID, there's some delays in delivery for physical items. Textbooks and entire journals, so many articles within a scholarly journal cannot be requested by students. It's a cost issue, it's a time issue, it's a circulation time issue as well. Items must be returned in a timely manner. If that item is lost or damaged, you must pay for that item. You must work that out with the lending institution. Same thing with renewals. If you need to keep the item longer, that has to be approved by the library that we borrowed it from. And the circulation time, the checkout time, however long you have the book, that's also dictated by that lending institution. We have what's called LibGuides, or library guides, or research guides. We create these in-house. Some of them are specific to our programs, some of them are course guides, and then some of them are just more general topic guides. So from our library homepage, if you click on LibGuides in our menu, and then Allied Health has its own program guide, so if you click on that, you can see we've got those general tools for helping you find articles, for helping you start your research, and then some of the programs have specific tabs. So RN LPN has its own tab, and that just kind of blows out some of the resources we have specific to your program. We've got some featured books, featured databases, the NCLEX information about taking that NCLEX practice test, and then some websites that could be of interest to you within your program. Also on our LibGuides, on our library homepage, and then some of our databases, we have that little green Ask a Question tab you see on the right side of the screen. And if you click on that, make sure your pop-up blockers turned off. You will be able to either start a live chat if we're online, or send us a text message or an email if you have any questions. And we'll get back to you as soon as possible. So our databases, the main databases we subscribe to are EBSCOhost, Gale, and ProQuest. If you go to our library homepage, click on Catalogs and Databases, and then under Databases you will see the complete list. is actually our more encyclopedia dictionary database. It's more useful for conducting background research. I wouldn't necessarily recommend using it to conduct your your research within a research paper. But if you're getting ready to write about a topic, you need to learn more about the topic itself before you go into databases like EBSCO or Gale, which is what we call secondary source databases. Credo is a really great place to start. So this is what that home page looks like. You can see we've got some featured topics, and then you've got that search bar, which is just like a basic search bar. So if you enter in a keyword or click on one of those featured topics, this is what it's going to show you. It's going to give you a few different options. You've got a list of articles there that you can kind of refine and narrow as needed. You've got that mind map, which is a great visual. It shows you a keyword and then how that keyword relates to other potential topics, related topics that might interest you or help you to really flesh out your topic. And then there's links to articles within our other databases. So you're doing your background research in Credo, you're looking at this topic, you're like, oh, this is an interesting topic. It's going to give you some links out to those secondary source resources so you can really get started on that research paper. So that's a really great function, pretty seamless integration from doing your background research into writing your paper and finding those sources that you want to cite for that paper. So if you click into an article, that's when you're going to get like your tools. You're going to see the full text of the article itself. I recommend using that citation generator up there if you need to cite something from Credo. It's going to give you the citation. You just copy and paste that into your works cited or into your list of items that you want to keep track of, and it's going to give you that in whatever format you require. Just make sure that you're retaining the formatting when you do copy and paste that. Keep those italics where they're meant to be, and then also B, checking that citation style against what your instructor has laid out for you. Within the databases, the citation generators, they're not perfect. They're not always right. It is just an easy way to capture the information so you don't have to go and type it all out yourself, but you still need to go in and perform due diligence on that citation, make sure it's correct according to what your instructor requires. So next we're going to talk about EBSCOhost. This is the first of that secondary source resource. Within EBSCOhost, we recommend using CINAHL with full text, Health Source, Nursing Academic Edition, and Medline. These are what is called subcollections. So if you click on EBSCOhost, it's going to give you a full list. And these are the subcollections. So when I mentioned CINAHL with full text, it's going to be on this list. And you can read the little summaries to kind of see what the subcollection's about, what's within, what's available inside of it. Some of them are subject specific to like agriculture or small business. And then of course we've got the medical databases, which is probably more what you're going to be searching for. But you can select more than one to search within EBSCOhost, or you can just search one at a time. And if you need to go back in and edit the databases, the subcollections that you're searching, you can also do that from the advanced search page. You just click on choose databases there at the top of your screen, and you can add different databases or take away different ones. So when you're looking for articles in EBSCO, some of the subcollections will provide nursing or medical specific features for searching, such as evidence-based practice, randomized controlled trial, which I know is sometimes part of your assignments. Other limiting options include nurse as an author, special interests, clinical queries, that publication date, because you're probably going to want more recent items, images, and then publication type. Just be aware that some of the sub-collections within EBSCOhost don't have the same options. So if you're looking at CINAHL with full text and then you go look at Medline, it might give you a few different options for searching. So just be aware that that's normal. That's how it's set up. And if you're searching more than one database, it might also exclude some of those that they don't all share. This is what the advanced search looks like within EBSCO. This is CINAHL with full text. So you can see I've got the little drop-down box there, the and or not at the top of the screen. Those are Boolean operators. And basically what those do, if you have more than one keyword, you can choose to insert a Boolean operator, and that just tells the database how you want those keywords to interact. So if you want all of your results to have both of your keywords in the same article, you can use and that's really going to narrow your search. If you're just more generally broadening your search, um, if you can't find good articles and you're needing to blow your search out a little bit, maybe try using or, playing around with one keyword or the other or both, and that might give you some different options to explore. And then not is also an exclusionary Boolean operator. So that's going to tell the database, I want this first keyword, but if this second keyword is in that article with the first, I don't want to see it. And if it's in articles by itself, I definitely don't want to see it. We also recommend from that advanced search page that you always click the full text box. Some of our databases, ProQuest and Gale, you're going to have the option to click that full text from the home page. Just make sure you're looking for it, clicking it. This just ensures that you are able to see the full text of the article, that you're not just getting a record of an article without the text. This does happen quite a few times, especially within the medical journals. There is what is called an embargo period for a lot of journals, and this basically just means that we don't get access to the full text of an article for 6 months up to 18 months after publication due to licensing limitations with the publisher. So just be aware of that. If you're clicking that box, then you're going to ensure that you're going to be able to actually read the article and use the article. So this is the search results page. As you can see, we have nearly 3,000 results. That's quite a few. If you're looking to narrow down your results, if you're just overwhelmed by the number or you're not seeing up there sorted at the top really what you're looking for, you have the option there on the left side of your screen to refine those results. So you can choose to add additional limiters or you can remove limiters that you put on. So if you need to, adjust that publication date, say you want something from the last 5 years, you have the option of doing that. Narrowing by source type. If you go further down, it's also going to give you items like geography and subjects. So if you click into an article or an item, it's going to show you the detailed record first. The detailed record is where you're going to find all of the identifying information for the item. So the author or creators, any subject keywords, the abstract, which is the summary of the article, which I recommend reading to make sure that, before you read a whole article, it might give you a good indication on if this is useful, if it's worth going on to read the article. Any affiliations, like who they work for, who might have funded the research, the source, which is the publication, publication date, image previews, and then information like that DOI, which you might need for your citations. So this is what that detailed record looks like. As you can see, you've got your author, creator information, the affiliation, that abstract, which again, I recommend reading that first before you go into an article. And then the image previews. There is 2 different types of ways the full text could present itself. It could have an HTML version of the full text, or it could also and or have the PDF full text. So the HTML, it's basically a plain text version of the article. It's not going to have any of the formatting that the PDF version has. So it's just going to be the text, the plain text. This can be useful in terms of if you need to have the article read to you. The database does do that. If you need it translated, if English maybe isn't your first language, the HTML version also can do that. And then if you're using a screen reader, the HTML would be the best the best way to do that as well. If you're copying and pasting from the text, HTML is the best way to do that because it doesn't retain any of the formatting. Whereas the PDF version, it's basically a snapshot of the publication as it originally appeared. So if it was in a magazine, it's going to have, all those pictures. It's going to have that original page number range. It's basically like you open the magazine and there it is. But this does mean it retains all of that, like formatting, all of that digital formatting. So if you're, trying to copy and paste from that, it could potentially get a little messy. But we do recommend, if you're going to print the article, that you print from that PDF because it holds everything in place, because it is a snapshot, as opposed to the HTML. We don't recommend that you print from the browser the HTML version because it's not going to come out that great. If you do need to print from the HTML, maybe the PDF isn't available, I recommend copying and pasting that into a Microsoft Word document and printing from that instead. So the tools within EBSCOhost, very similar to Credo. Again, you've got that citation generator. So it's an easy way to capture all that information without having to go in and type everything separately. But you do have to make sure that you're checking to make sure that it's correct. Again, these are entered by real people on the back end. They don't always catch up when the citation formats change. I know MLA just changed, APA just changed. Sometimes the formats or the citations on the back end don't get changed. So make sure that you're checking that against what your instructor has assigned. Next, we're going to talk about Gale resources. Search is very similar to EBSCOhost. If you click into that, it's going to give you that list of the sub-collections, just like in EBSCOhost. Again, you got to read those little summaries, see what they're about. Not all of them will be relevant to your search. There is a power search, and that will search all of the sub-collections at once. Again, I don't recommend doing that if you're in a program and you know that you're searching for a particular topic. It's better to go into the sub-collection and search that by itself. So we do have the medical sub-collections within Gale as well. We have health and medicine, health and wellness, the nursing and allied health, and then we also do provide a practice test database and test prep database. It was formerly known as the Testing and Education Reference Center, and that has now been rebranded as Peterson's Test and Career Prep. And we do have handouts available within the libraries that give you a step-by-step way to access these, to set up an account, and to access those practice tests. And they include the NCLEX practice tests. And if you know somebody who's looking to get into the nursing program but hasn't taken the PACS test yet, we do also have the PACS practice tests as well within that database. So you have a lot of the same options for finding articles in Gales within EBSCOhost. You have those Boolean operators again. Make sure that you're selecting full text. That way you're getting the full text that you can use immediately. However, if you find something that the full text isn't available, you can submit that interlibrary loan request if you really need it, and we can try to get that to you that way. You can select peer-reviewed, contains images, the document type, publication date, and the topic finder, which is a neat little tool. It's a lot like the mind map in Credo. It's just a visual way of exploring what's in the database. So this is what the homepage looks like within the Nursing and Allied Health in Gale. You notice you've got your basic search bar, you've got that advanced search link, you have the option of clicking into that, and then you have that topic finder. This is what the advanced search looks like. You get a few different options for expanding, adding keywords, using the Boolean operators, checking all those boxes for like full text, for peer review, narrowing that publication date, things like that. And then the topic finder, this is what that looks like. Again, it's just a visual way of searching the databases. So if you're more of a visual person, this might be a great tool for you if you're struggling to find sources within the databases. So if you were to click into, say, a piece of the pie, and then you can narrow that down, and you're going to see those results in real time based off of what you're clicking into that circle. And it's just a neat little visual tool. This is the results page for Gale. As you can see, it kind of pre-sorts your results based on publication type. So this is showing magazines, but you can go and click on academic journals, on books, on news, depending on what you're searching for. And then again, you can change your search results there on the right side of the screen. If you need to click that full text because you didn't do that earlier, you can go ahead and do that there. If you click into an article, this is what it's generally going to look like. Again, if it's got that HTML, you're going to be able to kind of either manipulate the text. You can make the text bigger, you can translate it, you can listen to it read if it's got that HTML. If it's got a PDF version, you have the option to download that, which again we recommend if you're going to print the article to download and print from the PDF. And then it also has that citation generator tool as well. So you just select your citation format, copy and paste that, make sure you're retaining your format when you copy and paste, and then checking that against what your instructor has laid out for you. So within Gale, I mentioned that practice test database, the Peterson's Test and Career Prep. So if you go into that and then click on Vocational Test Prep, medical and nursing, you're going to find all of the content related to medical fields. You're also going to find those NCLEX practice tests and study exams or study materials, pardon me, there as well. We also are a member of KYVL, the Kentucky Virtual Library, and this is where we have access to another practice test database. So with that NCLEX, you get 3 practice tests within the Peterson's test prep, but within Learning Express, you can take it another 3 times. So you have about 6 total times you can take the NCLEX practice test before you have to take it officially. So it's a great opportunity to really finesse, to really prepare yourself for that exam. So if you go into Kentucky Virtual Library, click on Learning Express, Career Preparation, and then it's just going to be pretty simply laid out, prepare for nursing exams, and you're going to find all of those below. So you get, again, the ebooks, flashcards, and those practice exams. And again, with the Learning Express, as with the Petersons, we have print copies of how to access those and step-by-step methods for getting in and accessing those practice tests. So if you need a copy of that, you can come into the library and pick that up. Finally, and very briefly, we're going to talk about ProQuest. ProQuest is another one of those secondary source resources. Very similar to EBSCOhost, just looks a little bit different. Again, you've got that basic search bar. You're going to want to click full text. ProQuest does provide a little bit more in the way of newspaper article content and then also technical publications. So again, very similar to EBSCO and Gale, you can search using Boolean operators, that and or not vocabulary, full text, peer review, you can narrow publication date, source type, and document type. So this is what the results page looks like in ProQuest. You've got the limiting options there on the left side of the screen if you need to change or add or take away what you've kind of got over here in your results list. And if you click into an article, this is what it looks like. It's going to give you the abstract, the details or the detailed record. It's going to give you author names, subject terms, things like that. It's going to give you access to the HTML if that's available or the PDF if that's available. And it's also going to provide access to that citation generator again. So if you click into that, choose your citation style, you're just going to be able to copy and paste that into your works cited. And again, making sure you're retaining the formatting, that those italics, make sure you retain those, and then also check that against what your instructor has laid out for you for that assignment. So pressing citations, because it's very important to cite all of the sources, to always attribute credit to the original author of a source used, to avoid accusations of plagiarism. Plagiarism can have serious repercussions, including having to redo an assignment, failing an assignment or a course, being expelled, losing your financial aid eligibility, or having to pay back financial aid completely. So just make sure that you're very, very diligent about citing sources, about including in-text citations. When you're summarizing and paraphrasing other people's work within the body of your paper, make sure you're not repeating the source word for word. If you do use the source word for word, that is a direct quote, and you need quotation marks, and you need to add that in-text citation after that. So if you're summarizing or paraphrasing again, that means you are synthesizing the idea using your own words. And then again, always including that in-text citation. Even if you're summarizing or paraphrasing, you still have to have an in-text citation because it's not your original idea. You're just kind of changing the terminology around, but you're still using somebody else's idea. So when citing sources, particularly if you don't have those citation generators in the databases, which can be really helpful if you're out on the web, if you're looking at a website, if you're looking at a YouTube video, just make sure you keep kind of something in mind. First, what is it you're citing? Make sure you know what the item is, because a book is going to cite differently from a print journal article, just like a website will cite differently from a book or a print journal article or a YouTube video. They're going to be different. Make sure you know what the item is and you're confident in what that item is. And then also, where do you find the identifying information for the item? Where can you find the author or the creator's name? What's the creation date? What's the URL? Who's the publisher? Make sure you're looking for that information. Some additional help for citing sources. Again, if you're using the databases, they have those really helpful citation generators. But if you're out on the web, you can also get a browser plugin. I think particularly if you're using Google Chrome, it's called Zotero, and it's going to capture the information on a web page and then kind of become a citation generator for the internet. And that's really helpful. There's also certain websites that you can go to, BibMe and Citation Machine, and then Purdue OWL has also created a citation generator. Basically what it is you enter the information into the boxes and they will give you the citation to copy and paste, but you still have to manually enter that information. But it will put the punctuation and the italics and all of that in there for you. Purdue OWL, I mentioned, that's a great website to reference for MLA and APA. If you just go to Google Purdue OWL. It also gives you a great manual for writing within those formats. So writing the APA paper, writing the MLA paper. We also have the citation manuals for MLA, APA, AMA, and Chicago at our libraries. Just know that they are for in-house use only, so they cannot be checked out, but we're more than happy to help you kind of look over your citations, look at the manuals, and make sure that those are correct. And again, if you want to set up a virtual appointment, I'm more than happy to do that as well, to review your citations, your works cited lists, and try to get it as close to correct as we can. So just some additional information about citing sources. Punctuation is king. Make sure that you're getting that punctuation correct and in the right place. Again, those italics, make sure you're getting those correct. Your citation format will determine the overall paper format, so it's going to dictate the structure, what elements are included in the paper. So just pay attention to that and pay attention to your instructor's assignment and how they've got that laid out for you. It'll tell you if you need a header, how they want their the page numbers to be presented, and whether or not a cover page is required. And then also the in-text citations, how those are formatted, how those are included as well. If you need further assistance, again, we've got that Allied Health LibGuide, the nursing resources tab. We do have a library orientation and research guide, and there is a tab on that for citing sources, some additional help from that. You can set up a instructional request with myself, or you can drop into either the Stevens Library or the Lee's College campus library. We can do reference via text, email, or that live chat. You can contact me at my office phone. That's available on the staff directory on our website. And that is all I've got. Again, I just want to impress if you need any help, if we can help in any way, please don't hesitate to either reach out to us on phone or chat, stop by if we're open. We are here to help you in any way that we can. And I hope everyone has a really great semester, and I wish you all the best of luck. And I apologize for the baby noises in the back working from home, and it has been a real eye-opener. So again, if you all need anything at all, just come into the library. We're more than willing to help you out. All right.